Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Alex here. So last week I was telling you I almost killed this digester by feeding it too much. I had a very sugary solution going in, lots of sugar beet, etc. And essentially in anaerobic digestion there's 4 stages. You have the hydrolysis stage first of all, which is when your maize gets turned into sugar. And then there's 2 acidification stages next, and then the final stage is turning those acids into methane. And essentially what had happened, I think, was I was just skipping out the hydrolysis stage and putting in lots and lots of sugars, which then created lots of acids, which killed the methane bugs. So it's a fine balance between having enough acids to make the methane, but not enough so that the bugs are killed. And I think I just sort of pushed it over the limit there, and we started producing far too much acid and not enough methane. So that was the problem, but it is coming back to life now. We're continuing to take digestate out of there and into the front of our tank, and we're very lucky that we've got that bag there, which holds so much digestate, so we can reinvigorate, re-energize, whatever word you want to use, this tank that I'm sitting on here, and get all this acid that was in here into that bag where it's making lots of good gas. So we're continuing that process. We're up to 5 tons feeding now. We're still a long way off where we are normally, which is 18 tons or 17 tons of maize a day, but we're getting back on stream. We've got both our engines running, not full power yet, but they're producing heat, which is crucial for the logs drying, so that's great that we've all got that back on stream. So yeah, we're getting it back on a bit more of an even keel now. I'm feeling a little bit more positive about things, but I'm still keen to try and find feedstocks. That's what it's all about, because we haven't grown that much maize this year because of the drought conditions we had last year. We're about 2,000 tons short. So speaking to the farm, looks like we're going to hold crop the winter barley later in the year. And going forward, we might do that on a more regular basis, maybe start planting some rye, so that we've got some kind of steady consistency. Because some of these sugary products that I get in are, they just take a lot of management, and sometimes it's hard to manage things. We're always short of time doing a million and one things to be sort of too concentrating on those feedstocks. So that's probably what went wrong there. Anyway, hope you enjoy the rest of this vid, and yeah. Okay, so we're just up at our top lagoon. We've got 2 here, the smaller one there and our bigger one here. This is from our own digestate that we produce. This one is from another plant that I get in, which is a meat-based plant, sort of. So it's got a much more tangy smell to it. And they've got a beast of a pump on. I'll just show you. So yeah, they're just giving everything a good mix here. It's got a nice big engine on it, I'll tell you that much. Running on tick over. Yeah, I tell you, I like that bit of kit. That's doing a nice job. Glad I'm downwind of it as well. It's got a fair tang. Just got another load of firewood processing grade timber to come in. Looks like it's mainly ash, that's good. I've had enough of doing oak. I'll speak to my friend at Oak Farm, Firewood. He told me you don't want oak in your kiln, and he's right. It takes ages to dry down. Ash seems to dry a lot quicker. Anyway, that's nice. Okay, I'm just here at the dryer and just moving some buckets, so excuse me. Just noticed that this corner here has got ripped. Probably a good idea to put that in steel or something. Have a steel bend on that. It's obviously just a bit hard work for this rubber pipe to handle that with the wind and what have you. So I'm just going to get up there and get that changed. Flip all this pipe work around. So I just cut off a little strip there. Re-put that back on. We'll put the dryer on and restart and see how she goes. She might come off. I'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. Here are the guy's tractors. That's a 24-metre boom. And then he's got the other machine there that just pulls the line about for him. Quite some operation, I've got to say. So about a month ago we had quite a bit of rain here, and all this area here, the corner of this clamp in the wood yard, was all underwater. So we've cut through the tarmac, and I know that I put a drain under here. It was herringbone, and we've hit that. We poured some water in, and so it soaked away really nicely. I knew that because on that wall there I just put a little dot of paint, so I thought to myself, if I ever need to find it, I'll know where it is. So we hit it spot on, so very happy about that. About the first time we've ever got anything right. So there we go, barrier rich. I'm going to make a little drain here with a little catchment pit below, and so that will keep this area not underwater. So guys, they're just spreading at the moment. They've got the boom out there behind me. We're going to whole crop all this barley. We've got 5 or 6 fields of it because we're really short on silage. We've got another month left of silage there. We've got about 5 months left of silage there. So it's not going to take us quite to what we need. So I'm going to whole crop the barley, stick that into the clamp. And the good thing about the digestate that we're pouring on this, it comes from a waste-based plant, or a meat-based plant I should say, and it's really got a lot of punch in it. So it gives the crop an awful lot of vigour to get itself going, and that'll get turned into biomass. Last year we saw really long straw levels on the crop, so the slurry that these AD plants produce is very good. So hopefully we'll get that in June, see us through nicely until we get the next maize crop in, so that'll be great. There's the boom spread out 24 metres odd or something, so yeah, it just does such a good job. They get over this ground so quick, don't do too much compaction on it. Seems to be some problem with the lagoon, I think, at the moment. They've run back over, but they work really quickly on this system. They do 4 good sized fields. They must do 100 acres or something in a day really, and they get our 1500 cubic metre lagoon filled down, so that's just spot on really. It's just what you want. The other lagoon we'll have to do with tankers, and that's a much slower job. It just seems to take about a week really, because it's all the toing and froing and what have you, but there we are. So I just put a little tube in the ground there, put a bit of gravel around the side, and we'll just fill in that with concrete, put a little cap on top of it, and that will just give our little drainage port there. So that'll be good. So there's our finished drain. This bit of blue steel here was actually part of my wood chip dryer over there. So it's a nice thick piece of steel. They just drilled some holes in it, a little bit of cement around the side, and yeah, hopefully that'll be a goodie, and we can then lift it up and clean out any crap that falls into the bottom. So yeah, job's a good one. That's the old girl on full chat. A little bit more to pull out yet. Okay, so we're back to the chipper. Some of you might remember from the video the other week, there's a main bearing in there which the chipper drum rotates on, and we found the bolts had fallen out there. I spoke to Firewood and they said yeah, the threads had gone on the plate. So what we did was helicopter that. Here's the old bearing. That was the bottom side. The bolts had come out these top 2 ones, and it had obviously cracked this by jumping up and down, which is a great shame, but never mind. I'm really in two minds about this machine now, because it's obviously quite worn. It's had a tough life before it got here. It had the old respray job done on it to make it look neat, and it does look smart, but you know, if every time I use it I've got to spend £1,000 to get it right, you think to yourself, well, that's not much good. The other thing is, which is a bit of a problem, is the belt is small, the chain is small before it goes onto the drum and the roller, so we're having to sort of, it's a two-person operation to push stuff in by hand. So that's another little bit of a problem about it. I noticed it had a 400 I think, where the chain comes all the way out here and you can adjust it up and down on the angle, and it would take bigger pieces. This one actually is, it looks good, 12 inches sounds good, but in reality it's actually not that good. So yeah, there's a few problems with this machine. I really am thinking I might just trade it in. So there we go. But whether I trade it in for another chipper or just let somebody come and chip, that's the bit I'm not sure about. Okay guys, so there's a pile of oak logs there, and I was speaking with Oak Farm Fuelwood or something, or Firewood. I'll put a link in the description. And he was saying he had a lot of problems with his oak logs because they come in, they're very, very wet, they're not like ash, which you can dry quickly. And yeah, I've had exactly the same problem as what he's had, that they just take forever in your kiln to get down in moisture. They just take a long time to crack open, they're holding a lot of wetness, so it just extends it. So what we're going to do, we're moving all that oak pile up to the top there and restacking it at the top of the hill, and just get the wind blowing through it, come back to it in 5 or 6 months time. It will have dropped a lot of moisture, done a lot of hard work for us. So that's what we're doing there. So there they are. I'm going to put down a couple of bearers there to just keep them off the ground, not get any muck on them. Otherwise the bottom layer won't be properly dry and they'll pick up a bit of mud or stone, and then that will just break our saw, which we don't need. So that's the policy there, basically. There we are, that's all that oak moved, and you can just see it's all on bearers, so that will keep it off the ground. That will dry out really nicely. I mean, this day's a lovely drying day, bit of sun, bit of wind up here, just fantastic. Okay, so that's the new water collection system. They run new guttering all along there, Barry and Richard, both sides of the barn, comes back into there. Hopefully that'll fill that tank. Hopefully that'll work really nicely, and we can put more of these up on the other roofs. Okay guys, just a little roundup on what's happening on the tank. We're now starting to feed full, and both engines are starting to run. We've got a good gas at this end of the tank. It's still, when I checked it, a little bit sick down this end, with just slightly pukey smell still. So what's happening is it's still going through, a little bit of foaming still happening in the bag, but that policy of taking good digestate from our secondary digester, putting it into the front of this tank, and putting the bad digestate that was in here into the bag is working nicely. So yeah, we're not making masses of gas yet. I'd like to see a little bit more gas, but it is coming. It's just a slow old process. That's been 2 weeks that we've been down due to feeding too much and acidifying the tank, but such is life. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that video guys, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.